Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of When Starbucks Was Fun.
Hi.
Hi, and this is our little podcast about, we're going to go back to the 90s, back to the bucks of our youth when we first started in the fifth store in Los Angeles and at one time, the busiest store in the world. That's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about. We're stepping back in time. We're taking you with us into a simpler time.
A simpler time before lots of things that we have now. Yeah.
Yes, but
We did not have lots of things, Father. We did not have Teslas. What's a Tesla? I don't know.
What? Before there was...
Oh, God. Whoa, I just went off. I think I'm being possessed. Maybe this is for your other podcast.
Exactly. The House Medium. You can check it out. Plug. Yes. Speaking of which, this is what this podcast is about. This particular episode. What is the title, Jeff?
We're going to be talking tea on tech, y'all. Spilling some tea on the tech.
In Starbucks tech.
Starbucks
tech. But before we do, I have a special treat for you.
Oh, I can't
Just wait. For you, Jeff. I thought of you. Oh. And I couldn't resist.
Haunting your brain.
I went to Starbucks today.
Ah, jeez, are those what I think they are?
Decided that I needed to give myself a treat.
Needed your protein?
They look like boobies.
Those are like, no thanks. Oh, don't eat it. Don't eat it.
Oh, for those of you listening, these are egg white bites. These are Jeff's favorite.
Oh, how can you eat that? I know I am one of... Oh, did anybody else hear that? Because... This is egg white bites. Why do you hate me? Are they coming for me now? They're coming for you, Barbara. They're coming for you, Barbara. God, possessed egg white bites. This is why I don't eat them. I don't want the egg white bite poltergeist haunting me.
I'm dying. Oh my God,
please don't choke.
I'm trying not to choke.
Hello, Jeff. Why do you hate me? Like, it's gonna come through my freaking TV. Just call me Carol Ann. This house is clean. Yikes. I'm going to enjoy.
I can't even breathe because I didn't tell him I was going to do that. And I wanted to surprise him because...
That was... This is egg white bites. Why do you hate me?
Why do you hate the egg white bites?
They are...
I'm crying.
Because they are like congealed little patties of like...
They're so good.
You know what?
These are even cold.
You've got some problems. I'll spill the tea on your issues. This is going to be a freaking therapy session now.
Listen, I don't know. Let's explain to people if they didn't hear last week's episode. Jeff revealed why he hates these egg white bites.
I don't get them. Please don't send me hate mail or like DMs about how could you. But I just have
prejudice against egg white bites.
I have a real thing. I don't like eggs. I like eggs and cookies. I like eggs and cakes and pancakes. Anything like that. Eggs just as eggs, scrambled, fried, hard-boiled, poached, egg white bites. No, thank you. They are gross to me. But
well, now they're going to haunt your dreams.
Thank you. Thank you for the nightmares. I'll be sending you my bill. This is egg white bites. Why do you hate me?
Well, I happen to love them.
Yes, you do.
So Starbucks, if you're listening, and egg white bites, I love you.
Adela.
It's E.G. I'm here for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. You have a very intense relationship with these things. Do they sleep on your pillow? What's happening? Thank you, Adela. We love you. That's
These are the
frightening.
Starbucks egg white bites, and they've
Mm,
gotten me through some times,
I
and
guess they
I'm so
have.
happy that you love me. I love you too. Thank
Adela,
you. Thank
it's
you.
E.G.
Thank
I'm
you.
here for you.
Thank you so much.
Oh boy. Okay, now
Oh
we
my god.
have gone askew, people. Can I get back? Can I? Oh, okay. Now we get some applause. All right,
Because
that.
it was so awesome. It was so awesome.
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to play it.
You
I
were on that
apologize.
button like egg white bites in your mouth.
Oh boy. I guess it's fitting because I have another existence where I'm an intuitive and a medium, and I have a different podcast. And I know that's the house me that's paranormal. And I know it's a little crossover, a little it's like crossover
Little egg
episode.
white crossover action. Maybe they can make a little appearance on your other podcast.
I wanted it to haunt you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So at 2 in the morning when I'm having nightmares of egg
I'm
white
gonna
bites
send it
chasing
to
me
you.
through a cemetery.
I'm gonna send it to you in a text. I'm gonna
Oh,
do
good.
so that he can
Can't
play it
wait.
before he goes to sleep.
Well, thank you for that,
Okay.
Adela.
You're welcome.
That was a lovely
My
birthday present. That was a nice birthday present.
Speaking of which, happy birthday!
Cheers. Thank you
Belated
very much.
birthday.
Mm,
That
yes,
will that's a good segue, I
that
think.
that is a. That's why I brought it up.
Everybody say happy birthday to Jeff. Make sure you send him a happy birthday at It's Jeff Funny at just It's Jeff Funny on Instagram, and then you
Please
can
do.
also send him pictures of egg white bites.
If my inbox is flooded with egg white bites pictures, I'm coming for you, Adela. I'm
I'm
coming
gonna
for
be
you.
so happy.
Yes, it was my birthday. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Cheers.
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 Cheers. Ding.
Ding.
Click.
Okay. Mm.
Crack. Whatever the plastic does.
And let me tell you,
Mhm.
got my free drink at Starbucks for my birthday.
And what is up with that? I have never heard of this.
That's because you don't use the app.
I don't use the
Don't
app.
use the app. If
I
you're
do
a gold
not.
member, if you have a gold card, I do. I don't have it with me. I would have shown it to people.
You have you have a gold card?
Gold card. Yeah.
It's kind of
This is
reminds
heavy.
me of bean pins. You remember those bean pins?
The Bravo pins. You got 100 on a secret shopper. Congratulations! You get a little tiny pin. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So, just so everyone knows, because they may not know, back
Yes.
in the day when you worked for Starbucks, we used to sometimes. You remember we used to do reviews for each other,
Yes.
fake reviews,
Yes. It was
so
called
that
Bravo Awards.
so that we would get those beans.
And it was
But
like
I never got them
shocking.
because I didn't want them. I was protesting. Okay, so
Maybe
tell
it
us.
was because you were haunting people with egg white bite things.
It
So
exists then.
on
Okay,
the
go ahead.
Starbucks app, if you
Yes.
download the Starbucks app and you enter your
Mhm.
card, blah, 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 after a certain amount of time, you become a gold member. And when you're a gold member, you get a free drink on your birthday, but it's only for your birthday. It
Wow.
doesn't carry over. And that's the kind, see, a few years ago they did it and you used to be able to use it for like a week or a month. Now it
Oh,
disappears
it's only on the actual day.
only on your actual
And
day.
if you forget, tough luck.
Exactly. You don't get it again. Although last year I did forget. I will say, I won't call out the store, but I was like, oh, yesterday was my birthday and I forgot to use my thing. And they're like,
And they
no
were like,
problem.
"Oh, they let you do it?"
They totally let me do it.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the opposite. I thought they were gonna
No,
be like, "Too bad."
no, I did it. So I did. I got that. And I think it's weird that you don't use the app.
Okay, I have an explanation as I'm putting on lipstick. My explanation is this. I rarely go to I don't I make coffee at home,
Mm.
and I've been getting this, for our podcast. I
Got
mean,
it.
hello,
What is it?
we're totally single-handedly supporting Starbucks at this point. So
I'm
I
just
think they
saying.
need to,
We say it a
yeah.
lot.
I mean, I think you should be sending me some free some free
Can I get
coupons.
a free drink coupon? I have some extras. Wait. Oh, these?
I think it would be awesome if we walked into one of those stores and tried to use one and see
It
what
does.
would
It doesn't have an
happen.
expiration date on it.
We're like, it
So
doesn't expire, bitches. Okay,
okay.
so I don't use it because I really kind of was like, there's no point of me using it because I kind of randomly go sometimes.
hmm
Like I'll go, oh, maybe I'll go today, on the way home. It's not really a consistent plan of mine.
Got it.
So it's kind of like a little treat if I go because I mostly like to make coffee at home.
Well, that's nice. You have the ritual of making
And I
coffee.
didn't want to get sucked all in. Okay. I'm like, I'm not
Well, it's
getting
gotten very expensive, I will say.
Starbucks.
Yes. Wow. I mean,
Mm.
remember when you know, let's go back several decades, and it was like $1.50 for a grande.
Oh,
Can't
that's
get anything.
right.
You can't get anything
No.
for drip coffee. Let me
Right.
rephrase that for drip. I think a cappuccino was like 3.25 or something. I don't know why
Mhm.
these are. I was on the register a lot.
Yes. No, you
But
have a good memory.
excuse me, I got a little
You got a
oat
little
milk. A
excited.
little oat milk.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, so the app, you can use it, you get a free drink. I think it's weird you don't use it, considering you're Miss Tech Savvy.
I know it is. That's true. I am, but I'm going to use tech things that apply to my life, and it isn't really ethical to my everyday life. It's like it would be more of an effort for me to use it since it's kind of I do it on the whim. I go, oh, maybe I'll stop by
You go
today.
through the drive-through. You're one of the
I'm
drive-throughs.
a drive-through babe. That's
Ugh,
right.
I
Well,
would.
what do you have against the
I
drive-through?
know I don't. Well, here's one reason. The
Okay.
frickin' parking lot, at the one by my house, it's like freaking Frogger trying to get across the
Oh,
thing with the
okay.
line of cars, and then it like
Mhm.
snakes down the main street, and you're like, "What is? Get out of your car and go get your drink like the olden days."
Oh my goodness.
I'm
Here we
just saying.
go. Grandma is back. Grandma's back. Tell us
I
about it.
don't know why. People don't just go in and talk to people anymore. Everything's on your phone. Oh, I have to send a text. Oh, did you get my email? Call me if you want to talk to me. I'm your grandmother.
But here's the wait, Grandma, I have a
Yes.
question. I have a
Oh,
question. Wait, let's go back. I have a question.
oh, hello
Why
there.
are you using the app then? If you are so against phones? Isn't
Yes.
that interesting? Hmm. Hmm. Please
Well,
tell me.
sometimes you are in a hurry. If you have to go to your doctor's appointment and you don't want to leave Dr. Baker waiting.
Okay, so you're using that to go to your okay, Grandma. Okay. Woo! We're
Okay.
gonna tuck you away for the night.
Well, sometimes grandmas are a little, sometimes they do things that don't make any
They
sense.
don't make any
It's
sense.
okay.
So it's funny because Jeff is not into tech stuff at all. I'm more into tech stuff, and he was like, "Why aren't you using
Yes.
the Starbucks app?" And I'm like, first of all, I'm not getting that sucked in. And ever since we started this podcast, of course, Google knows. And
Oh,
they
yeah.
kept started sending me emails. They're like, on the app, we have this. On the app, we have that.
Join the cult, Adela.
Join, Adela, join. And so I fucking downloaded the app. Are you happy? Are you happy? I did it. I
We won,
downloaded.
people. We won the war.
The ironic thing is, like everything else Jeff is not into. Like he's not
Mm-mm.
into. He wants to like. It's like wants to live like it's 1985.
Well, I will say I am kind of
Coming around.
a Flint. I look, I don't hate tech, but I will say
Yes.
sometimes certain aspects of it, i.e.,
Mm-hmm.
being on your cell phone all the time. People, I'll be at a gathering of people, and everybody's on their freaking phones, and it's like,
Bothering.
It's like this is where you're supposed to connect with people. I think
That's
that's one of
true. But sometimes it's a great it helps you get out of people you may not want to be talking to.
well, this is
You're
true.
like,
Or
"Oh, I have an important text right
when
now."
somebody's blowing up your DMs about
Your I Woo,
clips.
you went back with the I am.
IMs. Ooh, boy, I sure did. I remember when I used to do a lot of we don't need to talk about that.
We do
Instant
need to talk about
messaging.
that. What were you about to say, Jeff?
Remember AOL Instant Messenger?
Yes, I do.
Hold
Yes.
on. Where's the dial up? Uh, I used to flirt a lot on
Where's my
AIM.
Starbucks?
Ugh,
Oh, sorry. That was
she is back. She just doesn't let us
I did
talk.
not mean to I did not mean to do that. I apologize. But, she interrupted.
Tiffany, she's
The
always
dial up, I do have a dial up sound effect. I do remember the dial up. I do.
yeah. And anyway, but so AIM, I used to be very active on AIM.
Would you prefer this, Jeff?
Oh, hold on a second. Oh my God. You guys, I'm sorry. I'm so embarrassed. My phone is ringing. My cell's ringing. Hold on. Hello? Hello?
He has an actual rotary phone next to him, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to get a hold of Jeff, you're going to have to
I got one.
dial on a landline.
Dial up with some rotary dialing. I don't think I saw a clip, speaking of, on
Yes.
TikTok, of all things. And it was it was a Gen X parent trying to get their Gen Z child to use a landline. And it was like a
Mhm.
teenager, and they had no idea. The girl picked up the phone and it's a dial, and she's like, what do I do? And they're like, do you have a dial tone? And she's like, what's a dial tone?
Okay, so I have seen that, and I stake an argument in favor for the Gen Zs and more against the parents because I have a teenager and he
Mhm.
knows how to use. He goes, I could figure that out. You just, he got it.
Right.
I think it has to do with if you first of all, some of those videos we all know are
Staged.
staged, ladies and gentlemen. Just
Mm.
staged, like sitting on a stage. And I mean, they're just like, setting it up. But also, I think, if they really don't know, it's because the parents don't kind of expose them to anything or whatever. But yeah, he was like, yeah, I get how it's used.
I
But I
mean,
will say I had a flip phone and he
mhm.
thought the outside little tiny screen, he thought that was like where you watch stuff. I was like, no, there's no watching because it was like an old phone I kept.
Well, that's like we didn't have cell phones or mobile phones. Well, okay. They
Yeah,
were around, but they weren't mainstream
correct.
necessarily. We
Hmm.
had, there were mobile phones, and then but the it started getting more and more as we worked at Starbucks. In '94 there was none, so people were more engaged. And when they did have a cell phone, it was just a phone. It
Right.
wasn't a smartphone. It didn't have
No,
a computer in your hand.
no,
Those were
right.
like early 2000s when those were becoming more and
Mm-hmm.
more,
Mm-hmm.
available. So there were no cameras, no recording devices on these flip phones or brick phones or whatever cell phone you had, the little Nokias and all that. It was just a phone. So, it did change the dynamic, I think, between like customer service and customers, because now you had another obstacle to get past in order to like take somebody's freaking drink order.
Oh, it's like, well, the fact that there's cell phones now is that people want instant stuff. So speaking of the
Hmm.
app, and I haven't used the app because I haven't. It hasn't been that ingrained in my life to go there. But if it was, I probably would use the app.
More often.
Um, What'd you say?
More often.
Probably
More
more
often.
often,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Because I just kind of it's like a spur of the moment thought. But whenever I see all of the things they have to navigate. Like when I went today, she's just like, here's your drink, here's your food, because she's already on,
Right.
with somebody next in the drive-through. Not to mention they're putting out apps, so they're just like basically throwing out the drinks and stuff. But the other thing is, we talked about is that people, you know, it- when they have cell phones today, they are also able to like capture things that are happening in Starbucks. Like I
Right.
I would be mortified. Like if someone was filming me and
Oh
going,
yeah.
"Look at how she's being rude," and all that, when they're just getting
And
'cause
they
let
would
me
have.
tell you,
They
they
would
would
have.
and they would have. And the truth is it's not fair to these people who work there because they're not getting paid a ton. They're just like, I don't understand it. Like, what are you expecting? What are you expecting from
Well,
your Starbucks
everybody is
people?
so quick on the draw when it comes to
Right.
reporting.
It's
Like
true.
I
Mhm.
I was driving and somebody cut me off and I honked and I looked over, because I had to give him a dirty look.
You're like,
I was like,
"Who?" You're
and the
like,
guy had his
"You know."
phone out and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like what am I going to do? Get out of my running car?"
Right. We're gonna
It's so
start a fight. Yeah.
stupid. But yes, but in the 90s we didn't have to worry about that. And thank God we didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah,
But it
because
made
what
it
if
sort
they're
of
just in a bad mood or
well,
like
yeah, everybody has a bad day.
yeah.
And the good thing about that was you were you also couldn't take photos in a Starbucks back then. Do you remember that? I mean,
Yes.
I think I had mentioned this before, but if somebody was having a celebration and they had one of those quick snap,
'Cause
drugstore.
Starbucks was the celebrity to them, I guess, and they were like, "No pictures. No
Oh my
pictures,
God,
please."
no paparazzi. You have to call corporate if you want to. 1-800 Starbucks, please.
Yes, I said that many times. 1-800 Starbucks. Actually, we actually told people that if they were
Yeah,
taking pictures, we told them that and we gave them a card
yeah.
saying you would had to that's how they were acting like what were they thinking was happening, by
Well,
the way?
I
What do you
feel
think?
like because it was just starting in the market in Los Angeles, it had just started spreading its legs, and oh, that didn't sound right. Can we take that back? Okay.
There we go. There's your mic drop. There you go.
It had just started spreading its wings. Whoa, that's better. Spreading its legs. Hello, HR. Hello, Starbucks HR.
Excuse
Um,
me. Excuse me. I'm a little offended here.
Rolling a little Sharon Stone. Anyway, for those of you who didn't understand that, there was a movie
Yes.
called Basic Instinct where she showed
Uh,
her hoo-ha by spreading her legs.
and it would made her a fucking movie star.
And thank God. But anyway,
She's
so
awesome.
yes, before it was, because like we said, we were only the fifth Starbucks in the region. And so I think they were afraid of
Still
poachers.
laughing about that you said spreading its legs. Anyway,
Now I almost said it again. Thanks. So they were afraid of poachers, I think, of like people coming in and like
yeah,
taking pictures of like the walls and how the beans were set up and all that. And I think that's what they were worried about was that top secret. It was top secret. Do not.
yeah.
Now
It was top secret.
we didn't have to sign an NDA at the time,
Yeah, I know.
but it was probably
They might have made
they
us
might now. I don't know.
today if it was opening today. I do have to do a little callback that
Mm.
even though you said spreading their legs, it's not too far off because remember the old school,
Oh, the
logo,
siren.
a siren was her
She was
fins.
spreading her legs.
She was spreading her fins,
Fins, you are correct. And
and they
that,
look like legs, and that used to be the old one.
yeah. Well, Brian has an actual apron with the spread siren on it. Of course he does.
Wow, interesting, Brian.
I know.
Interesting.
But
Mm.
yes, she was holding him up like this. And I'm like, they later rethought that idea.
They were like, this could be problematic. I don't know. It could look a little different. They were like, they're fins. Uh-huh. Yeah, those
Hmm.
But
When
on the
you a
end of
lonely fisherman, you ain't thinking about no fins, Mr. Starbucks.
exactly, Howard Schultz. Um
We're
but
just kidding, Howard. We're just kidding.
just joking. Please call us.
Uh,
Um Do you remember though at the anniversary they would bring back
Yeah, they brought it
those
back.
they would make us wear those aprons.
No, I don't
Yes.
remember the aprons. Okay, you might be right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't remember.
How do you think Brian got it? He probably stole it from one of those
Well,
times.
let's not accuse Brian of a
Brian,
crime.
you are a thief.
His address is Dr. Lecter. Dr. Lecter. Something in her throat.
We actually are not accusing you of stealing it, but maybe it's a little memorabilia. Listen, you took a lot of things and Tony took a lot of things. Okay, so we
I'm not
already know that.
denying. All I'm saying is I don't remember the apron being different. I remember though
I
when
do.
we had the tie-dye shirts, it did have the old logo on it.
Yeah, the tie-dye shirts. You're really into those tie-dye shirts. You're really connected to them.
Maybe I'm a deadhead. I'm not, but
Not.
maybe.
But
I'm not.
but the truth is the interesting thing is I'm telling you, like they would have for a short period of time, they would either have apron or maybe you're right, maybe shirt. Somehow they brought it back in
They
some
did bring
kind
it
of way.
back temporarily.
And I think they even maybe put them on cups for
I think
like,
you're right. I do remember, and it was a brown. It was
yeah,
brown because maybe
brown.
that's when it started. When it started in Seattle, maybe it was a brown logo.
Yes, we don't know.
I'm not that well versed in
Yes.
the
Stop.
lore of Starbucks, but
We're going to learn the lore or we're going to make it up.
learn the lore. So yes, so the thing about the no photos was it would be sort of a safe haven for people. They didn't have to worry about someone walking up or photographing them or videotaping them. Videotaping? Whoa.
Whoa.
Well, they didn't come in with a
Whoa.
camcorder like this.
Grandma came back. Grandma's back and she slipped in. Tell us about the videotaping, Grandma.
Back in 1984, RCA came out with the first camcorder. It was 95
Okay, Grandma.
pounds.
All right, okay. Let's speed it up, Grandma.
She's gonna go take a nap.
She
Um,
was wanting to give us the whole history. But it's true.
that's how grandma is.
People did bring in those video cameras
Cameras.
though.
But we also had to be like, you can take pictures of your people, but you can't take any menu board or like the store itself. And it was a big thing. But I think because it wasn't as readily available as it is now, like on our
Mm-hmm.
phones, celebrities didn't have to worry so much about coming in with makeup on or coming in period. It's like we saw a lot of celebrities in those days.
Yes.
I mean, they would always come in because they were hearing all about Starbucks and, oh, you need to try Starbucks, and it was blah, blah. It was a lot of buzz.
Yeah. Yes. It was kind of brilliant marketing because they purposely wanted people to get back then. It was just the what did they call them? The rags, right? Like what are those
Like
rag
the
mags?
National Enquirer.
Yeah.
Enquirer.
Inquire.
God, those dentures keep
Get
slipping.
those teeth straight. Yeah,
National Enquirer.
Inquirer. But they had all of those like
People,
gossip
yes.
mags.
Yeah.
Back in the 90's and the early 2000s, it was like the dumb pictures of like who wore it best or look,
Yes.
they're leaving Starbucks. Oh,
Right.
look, they're like stuff today people
Are
be
they
like,
together? They're hand in hand with
well,
their Starbucks cups.
right. And now on TikTok and other things like this, they can like zoom in or they can like just
Yeah.
videotape people now. I mean, so back then it was just like them walking out and it was
Right.
only like paparazzi who took a picture of
Right.
them. And
Exactly.
sometimes we got suspicious. I never saw it. That's why I had a hard time believing
Me either.
the paparazzi was so bad because we had regulars.
Oh yeah.
That were celebrities that came in.
Regulars. Every day.
Regular. Mm-hmm.
I mean, Radford up the street, the TV city Radford, where they filmed like Roseanne and Third Rock from the Sun and Will and Grace and Seinfeld and everything. A lot of those people would come in.
Yep. Absolutely. All the writers from Seinfeld, the writers from
Friends.
They all came in. I remember, I think the 90210 back in the day was filmed near there. So yeah, we would have they felt more comfortable
Right.
because and they would come and get their own stuff.
Right. No assistants coming in to get their stuff. Maybe once
No,
in a while.
yeah, but they like stood in line.
Yeah,
So
they weren't
let's
afraid.
they weren't afraid because nobody was capturing them. And matter of
Right.
fact, it was kind of like cool, good to be caught because believe it or not, it was like the place to be seen.
It was one of the because it was very everybody was going. It
And
was
to
like
walk out with the cup in your hand.
right. That was part of the genius marketing Starbucks had because they didn't
Yes.
market anything. There were no commercials.
Mm-mm.
There were no print ads. It was all word of mouth. And if one went up on a corner, then I mean, well, even Tony said that they pushed the opening date of the Studio City store because
Mhm.
everybody was like anticipating, drooling for it to be open.
To
So
be open, right.
once you saw that siren go up, the fish
And
siren, not the red siren.
and it's weird to realize that, like, today you can go anywhere. You could go in a grocery store,
Yeah.
you can get some kind of Starbucks somewhere, Disneyland, like we talked about, the
All the
airport,
studios have them
but
on their lots now
right.
for
Back
the most part.
then, everyone, it was like you had to drive to a store
Yes.
and walk in, so it was very, like, special
It was
experience.
an experience. It was part of a ritual of like this I'm going to get up early, I'm going to get ready for work, I'm going to go get Starbucks, then I'm going to go to work. And I think a lot of people still do that, but now it's a little more abridged with like the app. You can just walk in and get it. You don't have to interact with anybody because nobody
Yeah.
wants to talk to people. And
You
Adela
keep
didn't in the
saying
90s, but
you keep saying I'm getting contradictory things. First, you say we should all talk to each other.
I do think that. I'm
Oh,
saying that
you want to.
people's ritual still may include Starbucks, but they
Mhm.
don't want to engage anymore. I mean, they want to
Yeah,
engage with their phone, not with people.
yeah,
I'd rather engage with people. I mean, I do like using the app once in a while and going and getting it if I have something to do, but for the
right.
most part, yeah, I like, how are you doing and that kind of stuff. The niceties. It's nice to engage with people
Yeah,
in real time.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I feel like that's why I like a lot of mom and pop coffee shops now
Yeah.
because that's my favorite is to find like a local like mom and pop coffee shop. To be honest, that's what I prefer because it's more of an experience. You
Oh
hear
yeah,
that,
for sure.
Starbucks? We're trying to give you some guidance. But
So
let's
dear Starbucks,
yes.
please listen. Um, but yeah, so celebrities would come in because it was a safer environment. Now, I know we have a lot of celebrity sightings. I mean,
We have a lot of
so
celebrity
many
sites. Some of these will be a little old school because it was the celebrities of the
of the time,
time. So know
of
that.
course.
I'm setting
But
that up.
it
Yeah.
does stick in your brain. I want to share one of my favorite ones. Oh, and there goes the egg white bites down her gullet, people. She can't stay away from them. They're ice cold, and
Jeff,
she
this is Egg White Bites. Why do you hate me?
because you are scaring me. Uh,
Be
at any
nice
rate,
to him. He's just trying to help people through the day.
so one of
Yes.
my
Okay,
favorites,
I'll leave it alone.
I was working an evening shift,
Yes.
and it must closing shift.
Mhm.
I do remember it was dark outside, and this woman comes up, and I was the only one on the register. I think Matt was working, and he was in the back doing dishes, and like somebody else was in the back, so I was the only one on the floor. And this woman comes up, very petite, brunette, bobbed hair.
Mhm.
And she was like, can I get a she's kind of snarky. That's okay. Everybody has a
Okay.
bad day. I mean, we've all been there.
Right.
And so I'm like, giving her a hall pass for it, whatever, it's fine. And she orders her ground coffee, so I'm grinding it and doing that and she's kind of looking around, but whatever. So I hand her a coffee, she hands me her credit card. So I would always look at the credit card to make sure, not that I would know the person, but just, you look at the name. Had worked at a bank before, so I'm sort of,
Right.
you
Right. You're
look at the name.
checking. Right.
And it said Eve Plum. Now, for
Yes.
those of you who don't know who Eve Plum is, she
Mhm.
played Jan Brady. So in the 90s, so in the 90s,
Oh,
oh yeah. Yeah.
because that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. So in the 90s, the 70s were kind of making a resurgence.
Yeah,
And so I was watching a lot of Brady Bunch reruns, and I had Brady Bunch t-shirts, and Jan was always my favorite, right?
yeah,
I had a t-shirt that said Jan on it. And they had done like the real life Brady Bunch. Anyway, that's just a little side note. So I look at
okay.
this credit card and it says Eve Plum. So not even putting two and two together, must not have had enough espresso that night. Because the woman in front of me is this brunette with bobbed hair. She must have been
Mm,
doing a different project. And so I swipe it, I look at her name, and I'm like, oh, Eve Plum, that's cool. Your name's Eve Plum, thinking that this is just another Eve Plum in the world.
oh, damn.
I felt so dumb. And she
Mm.
was not amused.
She
she,
was like, I am the Eve
I
Plum.
am. What are you going to give me another Marsha joke? Go.
Go.
But I didn't. And then as soon as she walked out, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? That was the Eve Plum.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
You messed it up.
I messed it up. I could have been like
You
all
could have been
gaga.
besties.
It
You
could
would
have
have
been
been
nice.
best friends right now.
Eve, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for
He's
doubting
still
you.
open. He would still
Still, we could
love.
still be buddies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down. But that was one of my favorite stories. That was because, and I was so unaware. I was so like
Yeah.
out. I didn't even register.
It makes sense because, I mean, the weird thing about working there is that we would exchange stories, like the opening shift and the closing shift. I was
Right.
a closing shift, and I would come on and go, "Oh, who did you guys see today?" And they would tell me, and I was telling Jeff some people that we don't have stories about, but people told me they saw Madonna came in one
Mhm.
day, Meryl Streep came in, and I would go, "Oh, damn it, like I missed them."
Right.
And so Janine Garofalo came in a few
Oh, she did
times.
come in. I do remember that. She's hazelnut latte. I do remember. I don't know why I
Yes.
know, but I don't.
I have a strange connection to her, but I'll save that for another time. Um, but yeah, and I remember I was a huge fan of her at the time. So we would like exchange like people's like
Right. Celebrity
stories
sightings. Yeah.
because it was all the time. You would just be look up and then there'd be sometimes I see two people in line and you just wouldn't see that today because of course you don't want somebody just filming you
Can I get a
getting your
selfie with you?
right, or just filming you like, "Hey, look, they're standing funny," and I don't think you realize how
Right.
much people analyze stuff online
Oh,
now.
for
They
sure.
analyze. Why don't
For sure.
you weren't you telling me about this story about
Oh, Pedro Pascal.
Mhm.
So, first of all, I love
Oh,
Pedro
boy.
Pascal.
Here we go.
Mi amor. I mean, I'm not alone.
I
I
don't
don't know
think
what that
so.
was. I don't know
I
what
don't
that
think
was,
so.
but
He's
it
he's he's
sounded
every
not
he's
appropriate.
he's everybody I mean, he's
Yes.
every like, he's playing every part that we love. Like, I'm a big Last of Us player,
Yes.
uh, game player, played it 4 or 5 times, just saying.
Oh,
And both 1 and 2 seasons.
pin a
Anyway,
rose on your nose, Adela.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wait, do I deserve applause? I do. I think I
Yeah.
do. Anyway, but he's played all these amazing parts. But anyway,
Yeah.
I
So,
get it.
so
We get it.
he
We all get why you're in love with him.
there was a snapshot or like a you know paparazzi picture of him
Yeah.
coming out with a Starbucks drink
Yeah.
with the sticker facing,
Mhm.
and people were going cuckoo over his drink and were like trying to like ordering his drink, like zooming in on the picture to see what it was, and then
Mhm.
ordering it and then reviewing if they liked it or not.
Yeah, I know.
It's a little nutty.
It's a little nutty. I mean, that's the thing. In those days, we called out the drinks
Yeah.
and we called them back. People wouldn't even know how to copy someone's drink, even if they heard it, because
Well,
they
not
would
only
be like,
that, but you
"What?"
didn't have a name to say. You didn't go Janine Garofalo. Your decaf grande non-fat hazelnut latte is ready. I mean, I don't think she
It's
drank
true,
decaf,
but
but
people would see people standing in line.
well, yeah, but it was
Yeah.
they weren't walking up to him going, "What are you having? Because I want to have exactly what you're having."
No, it's
It's crazy.
way more invasive,
Yes,
and that's what I'm
yes,
saying. Like
for
what like
privacy.
way more invasive. And so even if you saw someone standing in line and you heard them we call out their drink, you wouldn't remember it because it was too hard. People, you have to understand it was a different time where it was like decaf grande non-fat latte. Like we had the order.
Yes.
It was like specific. And if you didn't learn our lingo, we would say it back to you. So people weren't up, trying to figure out people's drinks.
Right.
But that
Yeah.
reminds me of, speaking of line, I have a story about Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh, please do tell, Kiefer.
Kiefer, it was just like the strangest thing. So Kiefer Sutherland it's just a really brief story. He was standing in line
Mm-hmm.
and he was with a friend, and his friend was a regular customer of ours. Like we saw him all the time. I do
Not a
remember
celeb,
that.
a non-celeb.
Like a non-celeb, but he could be like a producer or
Got
something.
it.
He's in the
Yes.
biz.
In the biz.
In the biz.
Obvi, as the kids say.
In the
Do the kids
biz.
say that still? Obvi?
I think it's not a thing anymore, but
Shocking that Jeff would not know this.
but I think that's more of a Gen Z thing. I mean,
Okay.
a millennial thing. I don't know.
Anyway.
Don't quote me. So he's standing, and then all of a sudden, he's like, this was right after he left Julia Roberts. Like, Julia Roberts left him at the altar.
Oh,
Do you
I don't
remember?
remember
They
that.
were gonna get married, and then she just like
Bolted.
vanished. She was just like, I'm out. Yeah. So she bolted. So then he's standing in line with his friend, and someone goes, Kiefer Sutherland. And he like looked around and flipped out and panicked and ran off.
Like it was going to be a mob.
Like
Are you telling me that Julia Roberts actually runaway bride him?
she runaway bride him.
And
That's why
she
when
was,
that movie came
and
out,
she
people
was.
were commenting on that. Yeah, and she was in the movie
I
Runaway
did
Bride.
not know that.
Oh yeah, she did. She just kind of left him, which probably, let's face it, was a good decision.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know the man.
I mean, Kiefer had some issues at the time.
Well, didn't they all? I mean,
Oh, Jeff, you're so understanding of
didn't they
people
all?
and
Didn't they
not
all have
being judged.
issues? I'm
I
not going to
mean,
judge.
aw.
I
Well,
wish I
anyway,
would.
I will.
And again, shocking.
There were
Uh,
I'm more reading the room and his
yes,
energy, and me being good at reading people, I can tell you his energy was not, it was off. Like the way he ran off.
a little
What
frenetic.
Yeah, it was very phonetic. It was very like panicky. So I don't think that was like the best approach. That was kind of given. That
Right.
was given like not, his mental health might have just not been really good at the
Well, we
time.
didn't talk about that in those days.
Right. I mean, I think
We
people
talked about
knew
that
that there
before.
was drugs. I don't know, but who knows? I have no idea.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Everybody was snorting something and smoking something and shooting something, and I don't know. I wasn't. I was very pure. I've always been pure.
Oh my gosh. So basically, you're not judging people, but then you are acting like you're an angel.
Oh, well, if the halo fits, I'm just saying. Well, anyway, so another good celebrity sighting I have because, okay, picture it. Toluca Lake. So I was working at the Toluca Lake store. This was after I left the Studio City store. It was still very, very celebrity heavy because it was
Mhm.
still one of the only ones, right by Warner Brothers, right by NBC, right by Disney. So there was still a lot of celebrity activity in this one. And I remember I was backing somebody up. I was doing like the pastries and the orders, and Brooke Shield came in. Now, I have to just do a little tangent. Shocking, I know. I've always been a gay man, probably, I mean, obviously since I was born, but
Mhm.
I had a crush on Brooke Shield when I was little. I always thought she was so pretty. She was so
She
pretty.
she is. She's
She had done a
gorgeous.
movie
Yeah.
with George Burns. Yes, I'm 110. But it was called Just You and Me, Kid. And I just thought she was so pretty. Anyway, so here comes Brooke Shields, and because they were filming Suddenly Susan down the street at Warner
Oh,
Brothers.
right. Right. Mhm.
So she comes in with one of her castmates, and I'm like, holy shit, that's Brooke Shields. Like, I was nervous, and I never get starstruck.
Right.
Normally, Eve Plum, obviously I wasn't Star Trek. I was dumb struck, actually. But so she orders some like French roast or something like that. And so they're like, Jeff, can you do that? And I'm like, yeah. So I get her coffee ready. And this was before we called names. We weren't like, Joe, I have your pound of espresso on the
Right.
bar.
People kinda like that because that's what they also like. They would sometimes just the regulars, they would give us
Right.
a look and we knew their coffee.
So we would just be like, so I had ground her coffee and there was a bench in front of the registers and she was sitting there carrying on a conversation with her castmate, like normal people do. So I called out, pound of French roast. She didn't hear me. So I do it again, pound of French roast, and she didn't hear me. And I was like, what do I do? Like, do I walk up and give it to her? So I was
But
like,
we I have to interject to
yeah,
kinda remind people
yes,
that they
yes,
don't know
please.
this, that we were kinda told that because they knew we were gonna have lots of celebrities, we were told not to bring attention to that they were
Right.
we were almost supposed to act. I mean, that's kind of an LA unspoken rule anyway,
Yeah, you don't
but
get cuckoo.
you don't get cuckoo, but still, they said, "We want them." I remember them said, "We want them to feel comfortable
Right.
here,
The
so
third
don't."
place.
Well, they wanted it a different place for the celebrities. They're like, "We want you to move in and be here for as long as much as you can wanna be here." So
Right.
they wanted them, like, super, super comfortable, and so that was probably I'm just saying that's
Well,
probably also
yes.
why you were stuck.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you don't want
Mhm.
to like draw attention and have everybody be like,
Right.
what?
Yeah.
So I called it like 3 or 4 times and she didn't hear me. And I was afraid she was going to walk out without her coffee that she just paid for. And so I said, Miss Shields, your coffee's, your pound of coffee's ready. And she's like, oh, and she came up. God, she was so sweet, so beautiful. I mean, she still is a beautiful
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
And she took it. She goes, you can call me Brooke. And I almost melted into the floor. I was like, I
Oh.
can. Oh my God. My
You're
little
like,
gay
"I'm so
heart.
confused because I know I'm gay, but I don't know, maybe we should get married?"
My brothers would love it if you were their sister in law. Uh,
Wait, we'll work out.
but yeah, she was so sweet, so nice, so genuine. And
Mm,
I'm sure it has a lot to do with what she has seen in the industry and
on
how she
through.
was treated. And
Mhm.
God, she was so sweet, so beautiful, tall. And I can call her Brooke. So, Brooke, why are you calling me?
Wow. Yeah, yeah, Brooke, what's up?
Hey, Brookie. Brookie Brooke. Brooke. La 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 la. I did.
Do you
I did
Brooke,
watch. I'm
yeah,
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Brooke, do you remember? Do you remember this day?
Do you
Tell us.
remember? I had a lot more hair then. Uh, picture me in a green apron with a ponytail. Did that ring
Yes.
any bells? No. Oh,
Does
okay. I did. But speaking of Brooke Shields, I did watch her thing on Hulu, her little
I did
documentary.
too, yeah.
She, damn, she saw some shit.
Oh, yeah, I even back then, I had that feeling. I remember feeling like, "This is weird," because
Yeah.
I as a woman, but not
Right.
even a woman, as a young girl, because 'cause we're similar age.
Yeah. She's a little older,
She's
but not
not
much.
she's a little older than us.
Yeah.
But I remember, going, "This is kinda weird." Yeah,
Yeah.
it was weird.
But
It
she
was
couldn't have been
weird.
sweeter. She was one of the. So I mean, most of the celebrities were friendly, but
Yeah.
I mean, when she's like a mega celebrity, you know,
Mhm.
and she was just so kind and warm and like friendly and didn't like wasn't like, don't say my name, how dare you? She could have been, but she wasn't. Oh, Brooke, I miss you.
Oh, Brooke, you're really in love with her in a platonic way.
In her soul, I love her
Eh,
soul.
yeah, she
Uh,
that makes sense. I could see that. I could see
anyway,
her being kind
that
like
was
that.
that's a good story. It was a little opposite than the Eve Plum, which because I didn't really remember that it was Eve. I didn't know it was Eve Plum at the time.
Yeah. We
Dumb.
have to have the yin and the yang, you know?
Yin and that's very poetic.
Thank you.
Cheers. What
Cheers.
about you? Any other?
Cheers. By the way, I tried their nitro brew iced
Oh,
coffee.
what do you have on top of that?
Cinnamon.
Egg foam? Egg
No,
whites?
they would you like me to take another bite?
Nope. Eh.
Yeah, I'm not
Well,
in the mood right now. Um,
is
mm-mm.
it like a cold cream?
They do like a foam, and it's lasted
But what
for
kind
all
of?
this
Is
time.
it like a vanilla Floam.
It's
God, I
cinnamon
like tea.
caramel, cinnamon caramel.
Ooh, that sounds quite delish.
It's actually pretty good. It's a little bitter,
Mm.
but it's great.
Oh,
Starbucks.
but we love it,
We
Starbucks.
love it. It's a 10 out of 10.
It was
Um,
much better than cats. I want it again and again. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
um, well, I just remembered this story while you're talking because I was gonna tell another story, but I remember this. Okay, so there was a regular customer, he would come in. He always looked like he just rolled out of bed and he just started his day like at noon because he would come in around noon. His
Mhm.
hair would be a mess. He looked a mess. And you have to remember this was pre internet. You couldn't
Yep.
Google people. You didn't know who people were. There wasn't Instagram to go like, what's your Insta? Or
Right.
any of that stuff. So
Mhm.
he would come in and he would get like just a normal like cup of coffee, like a grande drip.
Mhm.
And I had a boyfriend at the time that was a musician. And he was like, oh, my friend, his name was Muddy. My friend Muddy is playing at the Viper Room. And he's playing with this band. And it's Bob Dylan's son. And I was like, oh, okay, that would be cool. So, of course, we got in for
Mhm.
free and everything.
Mhm.
We go see, and they start playing. And I look up and I go, what is my regular
Yeah.
customer
Mhm.
doing on the stage? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, why is he up there?
Right.
Who is that? And he goes, that's Bob Dylan's son.
Yeah,
And that's
Jacob
when
Dylan. Mhm.
and I was like, he was like, that's Jacob Dylan. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. I got his drink like every day.
I remember waiting on him too.
And he was always, and then the story gets better though.
Ooh,
He was
better.
always cool. Yeah, it gets better. He was always cool. He was never cocky. He didn't have an attitude or anything. So the next day he comes in and I go, oh my gosh, I saw you play with Muddy, my boyfriend, blah, 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 got us tickets. You play with Muddy, his friend. He went, oh man, yeah, that night we sucked. And I was like, you did? I'm like cheering him up. I'm like, you didn't suck. And he's like, yeah. He goes, Muddy's great. I'm not so great, but appreciate it though. And I'm like, this is so crazy. This is like a weird world. I
Yeah.
mean, what a weird world. First of all, he was really gracious.
Mhm.
Second, and then he was just like, "Can I get my grande drip?" And I'm like, "Sure." He didn't like act like, "Who do you think you are?
Right.
You think you know me?" Not at all. He just rolled right with it. And I will say that the musicians always were like that.
Yeah,
That's what I
Duff from
noticed.
Guns N' Roses. Remember
Yeah,
Duff from Guns N'
right.
Roses used to come.
Yeah.
I remember one
He,
Christmas,
he knew our
he
names.
knew our names, we knew his drink, he was the
Mhm.
sweetest guy,
Sweetest guy.
and I remember one Christmas, he dropped $200 bills in the tip jar, and we were like,
What?
"What?" Yes.
Damn.
He was like, "You
Yeah.
guys work so hard, and you're always." I mean, that is
Mhm.
that's a rock star. Sorry, that's a
Gen
rock
Xers,
star.
by the way. But
Yeah,
also, what I think is that I remember, like, the thing about LA is that you wouldn't be able to tell the struggling, musician from the successful because they kind of
right.
dress the same and look the same. But yeah, that was like the coolest experience because I remember going like, this is so weird that
Mhm.
he could just treat me like the help, which a lot of people
A
did.
lot did,
And
yes.
actually, it usually was the people who were not in power, by the way. It was usually
True.
like the PAs, the production
Right,
assistants would
right.
treat us the worst.
Mhm.
Um, but he just was like, yeah, cool, yeah, blah, blah, okay, blah, blah," and that was really cool.
Yeah, I feel like ours is one of the last generations to have that experience because of social media being so
True.
prevalent now and
Right.
cell phones and smartphones being like in everybody's hands
Mhm.
that celebrities don't maybe go out as much. So they have their assistants get coffee or they order it in or whatever. So you don't have that experience where you can say, "Oh god, they were really nice." I mean, I'm sure they go to restaurants and stuff like that. That's a completely different ballgame.
Oh, Jeff, you don't know. You are so on point because there are many TikToks where people who work in places will say, "Let me give you the list of the celebrities that were nice and the celebrities that weren't
Yeah.
nice."
Yeah.
and they do it, and I'm just like shocked because I'm like, how are you working there for one? Or they go, I'm not working there anymore, so I can give you the tea
Right.
on it. So yeah.
But it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like we were fortunate enough to be able to have those experiences and share them and be like, and not have it recorded for, everybody to see, but just have that one-on-one interaction with that very human connection with somebody
Mhm.
who, we may have looked up to, like the whole Brooke Shields thing. I was like, that is fucking awesome because this is somebody I've grown up watching when,
Mhm.
and she was so gracious. She could have been an asshole. Thank God she wasn't. And I'm
Right.
sure we all have stories of, we have a lot of asshole stories too, but we don't need to share those. But um but the whole interaction of one-on-one and not being on your phone all the time or being so scared to like have an interaction with somebody that it's going to be recorded by the person behind you. Like
That's
I
the
feel
main
like
thing. It's like that's the main thing. Like, I mean, if you're well known, I mean, why would you not
right.
be afraid of that? Of course, you're going to be afraid of that. Like,
Because they're
I
also
mean,
judging your drink. Think about it. Like
if
if
they're taking a picture of your drink, wasn't it Haley Bieber? She's the
Bieber,
one that got a drink and then said this is the best drink, and then everyone was going to Starbucks and ordering it. I
that
mean,
I don't
that's
probably,
it
but that's
is.
what
If
I'm
you look
saying
it
is
up. Mhm.
it's like, but they're not only are they just trying to have their coffee, and I like the ice shaken hazelnut oat milk espresso thing, and you like the nitro or whatever, but now people are being judged not only on their celebrity, but can you believe that so and so got a mocha frappuccino with extra shots of espresso and brownie and blah, blah. It's like, who cares? Let them
Yeah.
have their coffee.
Or
Who cares?
they're not even judging, they just, like, want to, like, make a comment or be a part of what they're drinking.
Right.
So, it's definitely I mean, on the flip side, though, of course, it does give a lot of free advertisement, and the one thing I will say that I like, I know you're not a big TikTok person, but,
Right.
like, there's this girl, who worked at Chick-fil-A, and she, like, blew up and went viral because she had, like, a TikTok at Chick-fil-A that she did, and it was a funny one. I do like that they have a chance, like, people who work at places like this, they have a chance to kind of create content for themselves that
Right.
can,
Well, that's
put them out there. Because imagine
yeah.
if you guys had that. You guys were
Oh
hilarious.
God. When Matt and I did
You,
our public
Matt, and
access.
okay, yes, you're really into the
Well,
public
when we had our
access.
public access show, that's what I'm saying is if it were the public access format was on certain channels late at night. And you could do anything you could dream of. You just had to dream.
Well, I mean, but imagine if you had a phone. I'm telling you, if there's
No, you're right. I do think there's pluses and minuses. I'm not.
minuses.
I don't. Airing out other people's dirty laundry. Maybe that's kind of a minus. But
The
being
plus
able,
is filming someone who's really rude to you, a customer being rude
well,
to me, because I would have loved that shit.
you want to say it to me? You want to say it to my
I'm
face? You
gonna
want to
make
say
you
it to my face?
Instagram famous.
You're right.
Yes.
If we had had Instagram, YouTube,
Huge. We
TikTok,
would have been huge.
I
Our
could, I could
our
have been a
sto
contender. I could have been a contender. I don't know what that was, but I tried.
that actually fits to what we're talking about. It's very fitting. But
uh,
I wanted to just throw this in before I forget because, the brain doesn't always hold
the
on.
egg bites cause it. I'm
But
just saying,
well,
allegedly.
come on, Jeff. Jeff, Jeff.
Adela,
Yeah.
it's E.G.
Thank
I'm here
you.
for you.
Thank you so much. Jeff's
Oh,
being hard on me.
it sounds like a dragon or something out of a Harry Potter movie
That's very fitting for me. Very fitting for
or
me.
something out of the labyrinth with David Bowie, like the
Yes.
wall guy.
Egg bites.
Anyway, what were you
Okay.
gonna say before you forgot, or did you
I forgot.
forget?
Thank you. I need my fan now. So I
Whew.
wanted to throw in, I thought, was a really interesting story. I waited for Alex. We're talking about you.
Oh, Alex.
I don't know if he's going to hear this, but
He will. Oh, trust me.
we will have Alex on because you all have to meet Alex because he was
Gird
and
your
is
loins. Hmm.
a character and hilarious. But he told me this story and I asked him to confirm it. So next week's episode, I'll have to confirm or deny. But I remember him telling me that Jim Carrey came in,
Hmm.
and this was when Jim Carrey was at his height
Like
of
In
six.
Living Color, like that.
No, I think it's The Mask.
Oh,
Like what?
Mask. Ace
This is
Ventura.
this is '94. So wasn't
Okay.
that like Ace Ventura and all that?
I would have to.
Google it.
Should I
Google
Google it
it.
right now?
Google it right now.
While
We
you're
have to.
talking, I'll look.
Yeah. While we're talking, this is how it goes, baby. This is today. This is how it is today, Jeff. We just
In,
do it all
in
in
the
real
real
time.
world.
In IRL. In the real world, this is how it works. Okay.
Mm.
So Jim Carrey, he said, came in and there was a huge line and he went into the front of the line and said, I don't wait. Millionaires don't wait in line. And he cut the line and Alex said he didn't know what to do because he's like, what is he gonna do? You start yelling at Jim Carrey. And he gave him money and said, this is for everyone behind me. I'll pay for everybody behind me and paid for his drink and then tipped them like an enormous tip and left.
That's an awesome story.
I mean, I think
Talk
that's
about paying it forward.
well, I mean,
No, I'm serious. Like
he
that.
just like literally mic dropped it. He was like, boom, boom. If you have a problem with me, but at the time, I will admit, I thought it was jerky. I
Well,
thought it was really jerky.
Ace Ventura 94. I just looked it up. So
See,
that
so
is about the right time.
he
You
was
are
riding
correct.
high. So thank you.
You are
Mm-hmm.
correct for once. I'm kidding. I joke.
Wow.
I jest.
Wow. Backhanded
It's
compliment.
because of the egg bite. They're
You're
haunting me now, so I
you're
had to pay you back. But yes,
yes.
that's a very cool story, and it's kind of like I could see how you'd be like, oh, okay, just because you're a millionaire, you can come in here.
And then he's
And
like, bam, I paid for everyone. And then you're like, but imagine if people had a cell phone at that time and imagine
canceled.
he's out. Or people would be debating, well, he paid for everyone.
Well, that's true. That's true.
And he tipped them big. So it would be like,
It would be an ongoing debate.
an ongoing debate.
Oh boy. But yes, Alex. Oh boy, Alex.
Yes, Alex, we will have you on.
Okay.
Wait, Jeff, I have one more treat that I wanted to show you.
Oh, I
have one more treat.
Wait. Okay. What is it? Oh, what are those called, Ayla?
Mandolins. And the lady said they're Madeleines and or mandolins, whichever you want. The lady goes, but then I said, can I get some Madeleines? And she went, oh, Madeleines? And I was like, what is happening?
Wait a minute. That is incorrect. Madeleines. Is it so people don't confuse them with mandolins? So you're not going there buying a lyre type of a lute instrument?
I don't know, but I was like, I can't win.
You're like, the cookies that look like a shell. What do you want to call them? Madeleines? Mandolins? Madelines?
Sure, whatever. If you're going to send out a man with a guitar, cookies, whatever.
Wow. That's crazy. Well, enjoy those Madeleines.
You don't have any problem with them.
I love Madeleines.
You don't have any issues. But they're in package though. They're not fresh.
Well,
and they
they're freshly packaged.
6/12.
Well, there you go. Instead of having the big jar, that was I mean, look, the jars were a pain in the ass.
They were.
And they were heavy AF.
And we had to clean them ourselves.
And that was the other thing. If after they were emptied, then you had to clean out the remnants and get a fresh jar and put that on. The digging it out with the claw hand, that wasn't easy.
No.
And they got stale. So I could see why wrapping them up like that would be easier, but
Yeah. Plus and
I don't know.
minuses again. Progression
Pluses,
is good,
minuses.
Jeff. Progression is good.
What's progression? Is that a soup? I love their soup. Oh Lord. Tomato
Okay.
basil's my favorite. Any whoosy what's
You're
it?
gonna get an email from Progression Soup saying
It's
we would like to
Progresso.
sponsor you.
Progresso, not progression. But it sounded the same.
Okay.
Uh
Yes.
Anywho, what
You
else?
have your notes.
We
Well,
have,
I think that we got all the things that we
yeah, we
wanted to
got
talk
to all
about.
the things. I mean, give the celebs a break sometimes. They're just human. They're only human.
Yes, I mean, they are just let them have their coffees.
In
But
peace.
the thing is, it was a cool thing. It was a cool time to be in a place that it made the job easier. Let's just put it this way. It made it more
Right.
fun that we got to like see
Yes.
people and um have those experiences, our regular customers. I think the one last thing I was going to say to your Brooke Shields, I thought the same thing about Henry Winkler
Oh yeah.
because
The
I used to love
fawns.
Happy Days as a kid. It
Hmm.
I'm not that old, everybody. It was a reruns because it did come out, I think, in the 70s or don't it
Yes. Well,
originally
it
come out?
lasted for a long time, but yes.
So
The
I would
Fonz
watch
was a well-known, yeah.
the Fonz, right? I think people still refer. It's such
Yeah,
pop
it's
culture,
still on everywhere. You can still find it.
really.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could stream it on anywhere
Yes,
probably.
exactly.
But I remember I used to like because I was like a little, sticking up for the women even as a little girl
Mm.
because growing up in that time, I just saw women as always being oppressed and put in
Objects.
their objects and put in
Yeah.
their place, and
Right. Right.
that was still going on in the 80s, everyone. So I remember going like,
And the
I can't
90's.
believe
Yeah.
he's right. I can't believe he's snapping his fingers and these women are running to him. I would never do that. I would never. What a jerk. And then he's like plays such an asshole.
Mm.
And then he's standing in line at Starbucks and he was the friendliest. And I was like,
Yeah.
what? What?
Yes.
Fonzie, you're the nicest guy on the planet.
I have.
What?
It is well known. At least I've heard that he's one of the
Hmm.
nicest guys in Hollywood. Is Henry Winkler,
Yeah.
and my sister-in-law's mother is
Mhm.
actually the assistant to Marion Ross, who played Mrs. Cunningham.
What?
Yeah, my brother and his wife got married at her ranch in the 90's.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is cool.
and my older brother loved Fonzie growing up, like
Mhm.
worshipped him, and he just recently, I want to say it was last year,
Mm,
he was
that's a
introduced.
lot.
Yeah, he loved just like the tough guy. And I don't
Yeah,
know,
the cool.
when you're a little boy in the time, it was
Yeah.
so he got to meet Henry Winkler through Marion Ross for the first time, and
Mhm.
my older brother was like, God, he was the nicest guy. It like almost made me tear up because it's like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I've
he
heard
is.
just nothing nice but nice things about Henry Winkler.
He would stand in line and he would come and get his coffee every morning and he would just give me a look cuz he knew I knew his drink. And he would just
Mm,
smile and he didn't ever want to make you could tell he didn't want to make it not out of like I'm too big of a star, don't make or I don't he was just almost like it felt like I don't need the attention, it's fine, don't
right.
worry.
Yeah.
And he would just kind of nod and smile and I would just nod back like, "Yeah, I got your drink." And then he would say, "Thank you very much." He was very
Yeah. Very
soft-spoken,
gracious.
very gracious.
Uh,
Come
everybody.
on, let's give a round of applause for
Come
Henry Winkler.
on.
Come
I'm
on.
telling you.
We're see, not all the time is the tea have to be negative, right?
No, we were just talking about how tech has changed, but it has changed our interactions with people too, unfortunately.
It's true.
Fortunately and unfortunately. There's, like
There's
you said,
pluses and minus. I
exactly.
believe in progression. This is what our ongoing thing is that we're a little
Hmm.
opposite,
A
but
little off.
I believe that there's always good and bad to everything. Like you invent the pen, you could write or you could stab somebody in the eye with it.
I mean, I still use a quill and ink, but do you say there's something called a ballpoint pen now?
There is.
Wow. I don't have to
Yeah,
get the inkwells on Amazon any longer.
not any longer. And
Hmm.
I'm gonna blow your mind. You don't need a pen at all, actually.
I just had an
So,
aneurysm.
yes, we have progressed. So, yeah, I believe, like, that's just kind of thing. But unfortunately for the poor baristas, they do have a lot to deal with because
Yes.
the tech. And oh, we forgot to mention, let's
Well,
end it on this.
so speaking of tech,
Yes.
nice segue, Jeff. So good. Uh, you sent me an article and I read it. I don't know if
Mhm.
you read it about in Korea
Skimmed it.
in this robotic um, factory skyscraper building,
Mhm.
whatever it's called. There's a Starbucks in there, and the robots, the robots deliver the coffee to the through the building. And there's actual robots that the
Yeah.
baristas load the drinks in that people have ordered, and they messenger them. They deliver them. Like, is that the
Yep.
wave of the future?
Oh, you haven't seen the little robots going down the street in LA?
There's a whole like
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel has done a whole joke on that. I think.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. I mean, I've just been, like, driving down and they're just like, "Beep, beep, 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 beep," and they're going down. Yes, the wave of the future is definitely gonna be more of that.
Robots,
Robots.
drones.
Drones have already been a thing, but robots is gonna probably be making coffee. Matter of fact, they have, like, a machine now in some Targets that you can get your nails done.
By a robot?
By, like, a machine, yeah, you put your hand in it and it just, like, paints the painting real quick. It can't file and clean and do all those other things, but it can slap on the paint for
That
$5.
seems lazy. I'm just kidding. It's not lazy. I'm just
Well,
like, well, I don't know about all that.
have you
There
have
was a
yeah.
I remember seeing on the news the guy on KTLA, Rich on Tech.
Mhm.
I love watching him. He was talking about how there was a
Wait, regular TV you're talking about?
yes, I have antenna. Yes, I have an antenna. Everybody.
Shut
Yep,
up.
I sure do.
You
Not a
do
rabbit
what?
antenna, but a
Do you ha
a flat antenna. Yeah, I don't
do
pay for
you
the
don't
cable.
wait, but you okay, let me explain something. You know that I haven't had either in years. You just buy the apps and stream now. You don't have Netflix and Hulu and
I
Prime.
You are correct. I have those too. But I also like antenna TV because you get 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11 free. You don't have to pay for them like through basic cable.
So you're watching commercials?
I am.
Oh, we went back. We went back. We went way
Advertisements
oh
on the
my god.
television. Talking pictures. Have you heard of these? They have voices. It's not silent anymore.
My heart is blown.
Talkies. They call them talkies. And now they're on a little square box in your living room. Who knew?
You are watching actual channels with commercials?
Yes. Well, if you had
Wow.
cable, if you
You're
had,
rare. You're a rarity. We have to take you to the museums, and I need to package you
I'm
up.
a unicorn. Thank you very much. That's what I would like to say. But yes, Channel 5. Anyway, he was talking about a robot that made burgers. And then
Yes.
a few months later, the whole thing was like, it kind of haywired. So they closed it. Can you imagine, like, you're walking by and, like, hamburgers just flying in the air and, like, people are getting hit with patties in their face? Robots.
Oh my gosh. Well, I loved the Jetsons, and I'm waiting for the time where we could just, like, take
Fly.
dehydrated food and then push a button and it just, like, phew, turns to food.
I think I can handle not seeing that. But who knows?
Who knows?
I'd rather just
Okay.
pedal a car with my feet down the street, like Fred Flintstone. Bonnie!
Well, you kinda are with that TV.
Kind
You
of.
kinda a
Yeah.
little bit, a little
A
bit.
little bit. It's a smart TV, but it also has an antenna. It's a little contradictory.
Yeah, I'm trying that's what's boggling my brain right now. Okay.
Uh, I'm a
Alright.
walking contradiction.
Dichotomy.
Thank you. Oh,
Absolutely.
You actually used that word right. You get applause for that.
That was kind of rude, actually. I think you're
Why?
insulting me.
Because of
You know what?
mandolins?
Just for that.
Jeff, this is Eat White Bites. Why do you hate me?
There you go. To haunt your dreams tonight. There you
And on
go.
that lovely note, thank you,
on,
Adela, for the nightmares.
on that lovely note, we could wrap episode 4. And Jeff,
In the
you're gonna like tell the people the
Well,
things.
thank you all for listening to episode 4 of When Starbucks Was Fun. I'm Jeff, and you can follow me at It's Jeff Funny on Instagram.
And you could follow me at Adela Levine. I also have another podcast called The House Medium, which is a little bit more on the paranormal tip, if you couldn't tell by the sound effects. And also Adela Levine everywhere else. And you can follow us at
When Starbucks Was Fun on Instagram.
And you can watch all our shenanigans on YouTube where Starbucks Was Fun.
And send us some emails. Maybe
Yes.
celebrity sightings, or if you work at a Starbucks now and things are, you're like, oh, I have an egg white bite story for you. I want to hear from those partners.
Exactly. Anything you want to tell us, we would love to read all of your stories or any of your stories. We want to hear from the peoples.
Starbucks Was Fun at Gmail. So thank you all for listening to some shenanigans and some stories about when we were young.
When Starbucks Was Fun.
Good night.
See you soon.